Are you looking to strengthen your mindset? What could a stronger mindset do for both your life and business? Today, I have Desiree Aragon, and she's going to be talking about allowance, acknowledgement, and the power of self talk. And welcome back to the Survive, Scale, Soar channel right here on YouTube, where we make videos for small business owners just like you to help you soar both in business and life. And today we're going to hop into a conversation with Desiree Aragon. She's the CEO of Brain and Body Balancing, a personal development and mindset coach that's going to talk to you today about how to strengthen your mindset. Desiree, welcome to the show.
Jeremy, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm glad to have you on today. We were talking about this before the show, and mindset, everything starts with mindset. We talk about that a lot in the coaching that I do, working with primarily real estate agents and small business owners, that everything starts with mindset. Yet when I look back at my podcast, I don't think we've had a fully dedicated show to mindset. So I'm really excited about having you on today.
Thank you.
There's three topics you wanted to talk about, and we're going to hit on each one of these. It's allowance, acknowledgement, and self-talk. And I want to start with allowance. Tell us what that means, and share with us how that could be a powerful part of just our mindset and how we take on our business, how we perceive the world.
There's two parts to allowance. There's allowance of self and allowance with others. And one of the examples that I like to give is when I have a client that reaches out and says, "Oh my gosh, I feel like I have trust issues because so-and-so is not following through." And one of the areas that I like to speak about is the allowance by giving that person grace to be themselves. What I've learned is that people always show us who they are, and that's what we can expect from them, right? And anything outside of that, that surprises us is a bonus. So I like to help people have more ease with different personalities and those people that don't necessarily follow through with their word, and just letting and reminding people that that is just an outcome of what the person's experience is. It's their own life experience. Maybe they haven't been taught the skill set of following through. Maybe they were maybe there was something internally with going on that if they did speak up and tell the truth, that that it got them into trouble. And so and they haven't learned the skills how to set healthy boundaries. And the other part of that is to also not be a doormat. You don't want to be around people that are just not following through, but being an allowance of somebody else's actions and just recognizing that's who they are, setting healthy boundaries with them and letting them know what works for you, and then choosing to surround yourself by people that do follow through, that do value honesty, that do value how you feel when it comes to a relationship with them. And then being an allowance with yourself. So when it comes to making those commitments, sometimes going back to the drawing board and getting to the foundations of the smaller things can help you be an allowance of expediting the bigger goals that have been a challenge for you to accomplish. So I feel like just going back to setting a simple task of, maybe home cooked meal 3 times a week, making your bed 3 times a week if you've gotten out of that routine, and then trusting yourself in that I've done the work before to accomplish my goals. I know that I can do it again. And if I slip up, I have support. And being an allowance with maybe that moment where you didn't follow through on your end, But what were you missing? So use that as a time to reflect and not let that hold you back, but to reflect on it and make and just and pivot and make those changes that you know you need to make.
That's awesome. And I probably have a couple examples of that I'll share personally is when I started my coaching business, I would go and I would train and I would train for free. It was an opportunity to get in front of people and, in hopes of maybe finding somebody that might be open to coaching. So I didn't charge for it initially. And I went to a place that I highly respected the leadership and they'd given me the opportunity. They forgot that I was going to be there that day. And they not only booked something over, but they double booked. And so I'm sitting around for, additional 45 minutes. I really thought everybody was there to be a part of what I was going to offer that day. And, come to find out they had forgotten about me. And, I had to give that grace. I heard the word grace, right? I have to give the person grace because I understood because I'd been in that realm before that things could get really hectic and things are constantly moving and that there is a very real possibility that I got overlooked. It wasn't about me personally necessarily. It was just it was the beast. It was what they were working in, the
Yeah.
environment they're working in. And so initially I'd gotten kind of frustrated with that,
Yeah.
as most people would,
Yeah.
yet gave them the allowance and the grace to say, you know what, it happened. That's okay. And I went in there and I gave the training to the two people that stayed behind,
Oh,
as if I would have given it to the room. Personally, it's, thinking about, right now I'm going through a program that's, fasting and low carb. And when that's not your habit of doing that and you love food, there's going to be a couple times where you may slip up. And by giving yourself the allowance, the grace to know that, okay, like you said, go back and reflect on what caused me to do that, to get off the plan and then to be able to move back into it. So I really appreciate you sharing that.
yeah, my pleasure. Wow. And good for you for staying with it and taking that next step and being in that emotion of that frustration, but not letting it hold you back from continuing to give your presentation, even to the two people who showed up, because it's a ripple effect of what we do in life, whether it's positive or negative. Everything that we do is a ripple effect. So how much of an impact did your presentation make on more than the two people that were in the room? And when we look at that and realize, okay, it looks like just these two people, but it's more than that. We are contributing to the collective in a bigger way than we can even imagine when we interact with just one, two, three, five people.
Well,
So,
the thing is the impact is 5 years later, I'm now coaching one of those people that was in that room. So, it doesn't happen necessarily right away. You don't know. It's the butterfly effect, right? You don't know how the impact's gonna spread, yet it came around 5 years later.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Tell me about, so you said the other part I heard and I want you to speak on is, so you talked about also not being the doormat. So tell me about that.
Well, one of the things that's important is to set healthy boundaries when when something happens in that way. For example, I had a situation where somebody disregarded their responsibility. Um, and it, their responsibility towards a situation that both the person and I had to take responsibility in these roles. And I I got frustrated and I started to take it personally. And I decided that I'm not going to say anything right now while I'm charged with frustration.
Yeah, you
um
never know what you might say, right?
So giving myself some grace to let that emotion move through me. And then thinking about what I can say to that person at a time where I'm at more peace and allowance with the situation and not taking it personally. So it's really important to set a healthy boundary. So now moving forward, I'm going to seek to understand that person's perspective first and foremost. I'm going to say, you know, this was the situation. I just want to know what your thoughts are about this situation. Okay, great. Moving forward, this is how I feel. Now, if I can speak moving forward, what it is that I would like to see happen moving forward, in moving forward. I know I've said that like a million times, but not being the doormat is, I think, two parts is just, well, several parts. Letting the emotion just run, and then the second part is not taking it personally. And then another part would be seek to understand, and then also help them understand, and then set healthy boundaries moving forward of the situation, that how you would like to be treated. And yeah, moving
So
forward. I keep
yeah,
saying it over and over. So yeah.
moving forward is great. Don't want to go backwards. I heard you say also too, so that's kind of the negative side. We kind of looked at, okay, how do you deal with that? Right. But on the positive side, the more proactive side, where you said, find and align yourself with other people that are have similar thought processes, maybe several, similar boundaries, those type of things. What are a couple action steps there?
Well, first action step is to acknowledge there are other communities of people that value respect, that value their own self-care, that value optimal nutrition, that value personal development. So it's really knowing that there is support out there of like-minded people, and just choosing to show up and be around them, showing up and going to the events that they're at, is important. So I think community is such a big key. It's such a powerful influence for our own development, our own reflection, our own growth. And yeah, surrounding yourself by the people who you want to be like, just if you find successful, happy people, business owners, surround yourself by them. If you are interested in what it looks like to be a public speaker, start surrounding yourself by public speakers. If you are interested in knowing what it's like to have enough money to be a philanthropist and make a difference financially, for people that would value your philanthropy, or maybe you value property, surround yourself by those people who've been there and done the work and have those things in life.
Yeah, I think that's really important. And I think about in the real estate industry, and that's a majority of the people that will be tuning into this is, I've been going to events here locally for years, and it's amazing to see that, the people that are the top producers, the movers and shakers in the industry, is that they're always at those type of events when you hear the gnashing of teeth and how business isn't working for me and all these other things, they're not there. So, there's definitely a difference between those that will go and seek out those other individuals that have that same mindset, and they're wanting to achieve the same goals. They want to be successful in life. They want to be successful in business. And I really encourage that those that are listening is this is a great message, is go surround yourself with the people that you want to be.
Mm-hmm. And for some people, that may be limited depending on the community that they're in. So surrounding yourself by the people that you want to be more aligned with, more alike with, pardon me, I feel like you can find that in books. You can find that on YouTube. So I know for me in the community that I'm in, it's a much smaller community. So I find a lot of my support through audiobooks, reading books, YouTube, Spotify. And then, through there are a couple of in-person events that I have to travel to that make a difference. But just so you know, your community is sometimes just a book away.
Yeah, I love David Goggins. I read all his stuff. John Maxwell.
Mhm.
love all his stuff. So yeah, I 100% agree. Talk to me about acknowledgement.
Mhm. It really falls into place with allowance and acknowledging what you've already done well, and how even the acknowledging what you've done well, giving yourself grace on the things that you think you haven't done well, but those struggles and those challenges, how you've persevered through them. I feel like it's important for people to acknowledge their perseverance through the challenging moments, and to look at those moments as opportunities to possibly teach somebody else who may be going through those same experiences 5, 10 years down the road, and they come to you and they're asking for your support through a challenge. And when you can look at and reflect and acknowledge, okay, this is what I've done well. This was a challenge. It could have broke me, could have got me down, because I didn't take proper steps to align things in the right place in order for things to work out the way that they should have. But I learned from this, and now I can pass down my knowledge to help people, possibly not go in that same rough direction that I did, maybe pull them out a little bit more quicker through that challenge than me trying to figure it out, how I moved through my challenge, trying to figure it out. So I just want people to take away that, by acknowledging your work, every night you can journal, okay, this is what I've accomplished. This was an area where I could have done better. And I can I can do what I need to do because I have done it.
I yeah, I'd use Facebook for my business, but I use it mostly for myself.
Mm,
Now, sometimes my audience doesn't understand that and they'll want to comment towards it or give their opinion or whatever the case may be. That's what really wasn't going for. And, it can be, it's a teaching tool, I do believe, because there are times any small business owner, if they say they've never had a challenge, they're lying. They really don't own a business. You're going to run into challenges, but I use that opportunity for myself too, because I love Facebook memories. I love to go back and look at, okay, where was I, a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And to me, not only am I teaching others through that, but I'm teaching myself. And it allows me, right, to acknowledge those that was a challenge, yet I'm still here and I'm still doing it. It allows me to acknowledge that I've come a lot further than I thought. Sometimes, as a small business owner, you don't realize how far you've come. And the other day, I'm sitting there thinking, okay, I'm in two books, three books, no, four books now. One's an international bestseller. One is a bestseller on Amazon. I've been included in some other books, and those are huge accomplishments.
mhm.
Sometimes we minimize those, but until you can sit down and reflect, and that's what I use Facebook for. That's my mechanism, so people can learn from it. It's also an opportunity for me to acknowledge, what have I done?
Yes.
Good. Is that something that has to be learned?
Um, yes, I feel like it is something that has to be learned.
Is there any sort of, I don't want to call it a trick, but is there any sort of activity that you could delve into that would help you with acknowledgement?
I think it can be really simple as gathering around the dinner table with your family and asking each person, how's your day? How was your day? And just talking it out. And that allows everybody to reflect on their day. And then in reflecting on their day, they may start to acknowledge more things they've accomplished than they than they knew that they accomplished that day.
I think that's powerful. And if that's the only nugget the listener takes away today, is if you have a family, eat together. I hear, everybody gets really busy and caught up in their activities and they're in different places. We make a real effort in my house to every day sit down and talk at the table. Now I've got two teenagers, so like getting them to talk about anything is pretty tough.
Yeah.
But but we still do it. every single day. Now I'm doing a fast right now. So last night I was like, I'm gonna just sit in the living room because I can't be in front of food right this second. But those are important conversations, and to know what's going on in your kid's life, to know what's going on in your spouse's life, for them to know what's going on in your life, so that maybe they understand, okay, why is dad having a bad day, or why is dad having a great day? All the lessons that could be taught through that. So if you're listening to this, you gave a just a huge nugget right there. Eat with your family.
Thank
Tell me
you.
about self-talk.
Well, the power of self-talk can, gosh, it can lead us, it can break us. And one of the biggest tools, the simplest tools that I've started to integrate is as soon as I wake up in the morning and I place my left foot down on the ground, I say thank, and I place my right foot on the ground and I say you. And as I walk from my bed to the bathroom, I just say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And it just allows me to be in a space of more, I guess, just more calm. I'm more present. Um, and being able to start my day out that way, it helps me to more positively think about the things that I need to get done for the day. Um, Sometimes I'll find myself saying something to myself that, like, oh my gosh, I should have done this better. I should be marketing this since 2 weeks ago. Um, and one of the tools I start telling myself is, okay, I've got to power shift this. Instead of I should have done or I should be, what can I do now? And that's enough. Like, what can I do now? What action can I take now? And that falls in line with being allowance of your choices and not letting the negative self-talk take over and cause that imposter syndrome or that anxiety or that depression. Because we all have negative self-talk. It's just how quickly can we shift out of it? So I like to call it power shifting by thinking, okay, even another tool that I've thought, sometimes if I have something really, a thought that's causing a lot of anxiety, which is a whole lot less now than in the beginning of my life of personal development and positive self-talk. But I also like to use my breath to bring me to the present moment, and then use a phrase, interesting point of view that I have this point of view here, because everything is just a point of view. And when I say that, it starts to like throw a monkey wrench in that thought, like in the brain to stop that thought. And I'll even repeat it like 3 to 5 times. Interesting point of view that I have this point of view. And then I'll ask a different question. I'll say, well, what else is possible here that I haven't considered? So anytime I'm having a negative thought that's causing depression, anxiety, frustration, I call them the grungy feelings. That's information for me to be able to shift. And how can I shift? With my breath, saying interesting point of view. I have this point of view, and what is possible here I haven't considered.
I love that. The simple getting out of bed and saying thank you when each foot hits the floor. Yeah, it's gratitude.
Yeah.
And when we could start our day with gratitude, one of the programs I'm in right now, we submit our gratitude every morning. It's supposed to be before we get out of bed, but I don't have my phone next to me. So,
Yeah.
but I get to it, and it does, as you say, shift everything. And I'm a big believer in I am statements. For the real estate agent that's listening to this, I am a great realtor, or I am a great small business owner. When we start having those things that we're saying out loud, and don't, a lot of people are like, well, I don't want to say it. There's more power when you do speak it. And when you do that, you do have that shift, and it can make all the difference in the day. Um, so self-talk, I know we're talking to business owners here, but anybody could do this.
Yeah. Anybody, yeah. And the neural pathways, the brain doesn't know the difference between, um, whether it's real or not, because you're firing all the same neurons fire whenever you speak, um, something from a place of trying to get yourself into the groove versus when you're already in the groove. So I like those I am statements. Like, I am more than enough. I am good enough. I'm more than enough. I am capable and I am supported. And knowing that I am supported with each step that I'm taking is powerful, because sometimes you feel like you have to do it all on your own, and you don't. We can't do life all on our own.
Absolutely. And I love that the getting, more scientific is the neural pathways and how you can truly create pathways.
Yes. Pathways to success with powerful self-talk, right?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I know you had a question about my business and the name Red Hawk Coaching. What intrigued you about that?
You know, it intrigued me in the gosh, that story was just so powerful for me to listen to. And I feel like what intrigued me the most about it is that you were very open to paying attention to the Red Hawk and how it kept being with you in your presence. And I think it was with you and was it your mom, your mother's
Is
mother?
my wife's aunt.
Your mother's mother. Yep. Yep. And the Red Hawk that kept showing up was the mother's husband or uncle.
No, it was my wife's aunt, and it was her
Oh,
husband. Yeah,
it
it
was
was
her.
her husband.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, her husband who passed.
Mhm.
So I was just in awe with that full experience. And I feel like what intrigues me is that all of us have messages that show that we are supported, whether that's internally, we feel it in our gut, or we hear a song, or we're connected with somebody from somebody else, or we see a red hawk flying around us that is a somebody, in your case, your aunt's husband or your wife's aunt's husband who had passed, red hawks were significant to him.
Mhm.
And um it's just it's powerful in that I feel like people can give themselves a little more grace in knowing that the signs are always, not always, but well, I feel like they can always be around us if we pay attention. The signs of being supported, the signs that we're not alone.
Yeah, I think that's true. And as I coach my people, I always tell them there is no coincidence.
Yeah.
Everything's working. My belief is in God. That some people believe differently,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, there's something in this universe that
Mhm.
ties everything together. And it's like you said, sometimes it could be internally. It might have been a thought about a red hawk, and
Right.
that's why I paid attention to my surroundings and environment where there was a red hawk.
Mm.
It could have been a bunch of different things that, I looking back, I'm not sure. Is I think it's probably more awareness to it, just because of the story. He was a falconeer, which is not a very odd, type of interest or hobby to pursue. So, all these things start fitting together, and I ended up naming it Red Hawk Coaching out of honoring her aunt. And a lot of people are like, well, doesn't tell me that you coach real estate, or doesn't tell me you work with small business owners. And to me, that doesn't matter, because the story is bigger than that. And so I'll get a lot of questions, why did you name it that? And then when they hear that, they're like, okay, that's really cool. That's awesome that you're honoring, a family member through that. And but it's the allowance of not necessarily worrying about other people's perspective, right?
Yeah.
It's the acknowledgement of what I experienced, and my wife experienced. It wasn't just me. And then the self-talk of just saying, you know what, I am a great coach. Doesn't matter what the name of my business is. I'm going to go out and help as many people as possible.
Yeah, that's powerful.
Well, I, this is incredible. I'm really glad you came on today, and I know the listeners are getting a lot of great things out of this conversation. Desiree, what if somebody wants to connect with you and talk to us a little bit about the services you offer at Brain and Body Balancing?
Yes, if somebody would like to connect with me, they can go to my website, brainandbodybalancing.com. They can also find me on Facebook at Desiree Aragon. I use my personal page more than my business page. They can also find me on Instagram at Brain and Body Balancing. And they can find me on TikTok at Coach Desiree 81. And the services that I offer, they are all based on personal development. They're in person, they're online, they're one-on-one and in workshops. And I work with kids, I work with adults, and we touch on topics that are going to help build resilience, that are going to help build self-confidence, self-esteem. And you can find all of those workshops that I have, you can find them online. And especially if parents specifically are having a challenge connecting with their child, it's one of the areas that I help parents navigate through. Being a parent is very difficult, and I feel like adding a life coach for your child to your parenting team can be very impactful. And because kids, even though the parents are telling the kids some of the things that I would be telling them, kids receive it differently than from somebody else than they do from their own parents.
Yeah,
So
mom and dad's not cool. Yeah.
I know. So I teach, I work with parents one-on-one on how to have better relationships with their kids. And I also work with the kids on how to have better relationships with themselves.
Wow, what an amazing conversation with Desiree. And she shared with us, allowance, acknowledgement, and the power of self-talk and what those can do for our mindset as a business owner. I'm going to encourage you today, if you're feeling challenged in that area, reach out to somebody that can help you improve in mindset. Personal development is important, and it could be the game changer for your business and your life. Know that there's other videos on this YouTube channel that are just like the one that's about to come up. I encourage you to watch them. And in fact, if you want to binge, you can do that too. And until next time, I'm Jeremy Williams.